and welcome. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to join us today. My name is Wendy Fracchia, and I'm with Morris Murdock Escorted Tours. And today we're excited to be joined with the one and only Abby Bonell, who is one of our amazing tour hosts. And as soon as I'd give Abby a moment here to introduce herself, you will see why we love Abby and why we love that she does this tour of her home country. So, Abby, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for doing this tour again with us. Would you please give us a little bit of an introduction about you and why you love taking this tour out every year?
Oh, Wendy, how kind of you. Thank you so much for inviting me to do another tour. Yes, I do come from Britain. I was born there in a beautiful little Cheshire village, very picturesque. Our family still has a home there, and we've been in the same home through the generation since 1840. I was educated in Britain, went to the University of Wales. I was very lucky. I always wanted to work in news, in broadcasting news. And I worked for a very large radio station, second biggest Piccadilly Radio, and I worked in their news department. And it opened the doors on many, many places in the world where I was sent to cover a story. And fortunately, at the age of 24, I was sent to the US of A, and it was so exciting to do two big documentary assignments. And it changed the course of my career. And I have since then worked with radio stations in New York to Santa Barbara, Denver, but I moved to Salt Lake City with the offer of a job with iHeartMedia, where I'm a news anchor and also host a show for one of our sister stations, and have worked there now for 20 plus years. And I love Utah, but I also love Britain. And this is a marvelous way of me being able to take back lovely people that I've had along on these tours for a few years. I've been doing it now, and show them my Britain. And I mean my Britain, my favorite parts and the lovely spots. So we really absorb, we go up the whole country from London to Edinburgh, and we start with London. We will be flying on September 9th of 2026, direct from London, Salt Lake City to London Heathrow. We will be checking in there with our tour guide. We'll have a London tour guide. They're always exceptional. They know everything. We'll be checking into one of my favorite hotels in the heart of Kensington. It was always one of,
I think we've got some of your fun pictures, Abby. I think
yes,
that that's one of the fun things
that's
that
it.
shows your
Bailey's.
hotel there that you love so much.
Bailey's. That's it. Bailey's in the heart of Kensington. And the reason we like to go there is, one, it's Victorian, it's a period hotel. Why would you go to a new box hotel when you can go to something that really exhibits ancient Britain? And it's also a central part of London too. A favourite spot, of course, for the Princess of Wales. In fact, Kensington Palace and Hyde Park are just a stone's throw away. You can walk there. Also, there's the underground station that you just fall out of and go anywhere in London.
That's one of the things that I love about the tour that you helped us set up so everybody could enjoy London. I think being that close to the tube, because there is free time on the tour for you to go, and whether you want to go shopping or do a play or go to the park, I think that you're just perfectly located.
In
But
fact,
yet we give them so much on the itinerary, so they're a little bit of free time, but you're making sure they're seeing all the highlights.
well, first of all, the first night we have a dinner at the hotel or a restaurant nearby, always a nice London restaurant. And so everybody can kind of settle down and meet each other. And then the next day we go full swing into a great tour, and we do marvelous things. I love taking the cruise down the River Thames. I love all of it. But there's something about that, just seeing, Houses of Parliament passing by, and just all these beautiful sights, and turret of St. Paul. And we actually visit those sites, not the Houses of Parliament, but St. Paul's, which is magnificent. It's where the Princess of Wales was married. Just gorgeous. I mean, it's quite breathtaking. Sir Christopher Wren, I believe, designed it. I could be wrong, but I think so. And so then we see all of those sites, and it's a full day, and it's very exciting to actually see it for the first time. Big Ben, of course. And the next day, we go to Windsor Castle, which is about 45 minutes outside of
I was
London.
gonna say, is that, yep, there it is right there.
one of my favorites of all time. And we can't go wrong. If Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth II, loved this place. This was her favorite spot, and she could have any castle, as we all know, from Balmoral to Buckingham Palace, which she called her working office. This is where she would come home. And it's 1,000 years old. It's exquisite. William the Conqueror founded it in the 11th century. This was just a beautiful day, you can see. And we walked in and you could just see all the finery inside the castle is gorgeous. Great little place as well to eat and shop. You can get a Buckingham Palace shower cap, which I brought home. Love that.
You know, one of the things that you mentioned is this was a beautiful day. Um, and you mentioned that this tour will be going in September in 2026. What what's weather typically like in September on your tour?
Well, all bets are off, aren't they, in Britain? Pack a brolly, always I say. And it's kind of brief. If a little rainstorm comes in, boop, you pop that brolly up and then the sun comes out again. We're fine. September, I think, is a glorious month in Great Britain. And I do choose it for a number of reasons. All the children have just gone back to school. A lot of the European visitors with families have also gone back because their kids are back in school. We go back to school at the very beginning of September, like September 2nd or 3rd in Britain. And so I feel that the tourist sites aren't as packed as they would be in June, July, August. Also, the weather can be absolutely magnificent. And my last tour, it was, even in Scotland on Loch Lomond, it was warm. I was in a linen shirt on a ferry. So you can get the most glorious weather. Sometimes a storm will blow through, but September, it's never going to be cold, really cold. But I always say take layers with you. It's like Utah weather. If you live in the mountains, things change and then the sun comes out.
We all know how that goes. I was going to say there has been so many news stories about the weather and how record heat that
Mm.
that England and has had over the last several years. So
Hmm.
it is kind of nice because a lot of the hotels don't have air conditioning. And so in September it's much more comfortable.
Beautiful. And really, the hotels we're staying in, and I'm thinking of all of the properties, you have to remember that they have incredibly thick brick walls, and it's not one layer of brick, it's multiple layers. You would break your fingers if you tried to knock on it. It's not, my house, I love my house, but I can hear it echo. And you can't there, and I think it keeps the rooms cooler,
The
definitely.
insulation,
Yes,
that's
with the older buildings.
well, and it's so fun, just looking at your pictures, from seeing the British Guards and just the castles and just it just looks so amazing.
By the way, the top corner is a dear family friend of ours. She lives in Windsor, 10 minutes away from that castle. And so when she heard, and she's my sister's best friend, they've been friends for years. And when she knew I was coming to Windsor, she came with her husband and she came around the castle tour with the group. And so that was a shot of her just arriving early Saturday morning and meeting me. So it's it really, and she said, you never get sick of Windsor is a beautiful little town. It really is exquisite.
Well, and I love that you included on your tour because not all England tours will make the time to go out to the country to visit this place.
No, 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 it's a very special place. It's one of my favorites. I would encourage everybody to take a tour of Windsor Castle. By the way, the Queen is buried there too.
Oh, well, I was going to say, now I didn't know if we should be moving on to the next place or
We
if you
can.
had anything else to say, but one of the things when we were talking about your presentation was like some of the things that you love the most about your tour. And I
Mm,
know that these are the things that people always comment on when they get home from the tour, the
mm.
places they love. So far you've hit all of that.
I have. So then what happens is we leave London and we have a new bus and we head out into the countryside. And the shot to the left is Blenheim Palace. And it's magnificent in its size. You just can't really conceive how something could be so large and so beautiful. And it's where Sir Winston Churchill was born. And so you can actually see a whole exhibition
Yeah.
there inside, and the gardens are incredible. By the way, the cafe there, I love on the way out. I always give myself a little time at the end so I can go into the kitchen there. You feel like you're going into a Victorian kitchen, really, and order a scone and, clotted cream and jam and sit down, have my cup of tea. And you can go outside. It's been glorious weather the last couple of trips and just sat outside, just looking at this beautiful, amazing building that is just pretty incredible. And we're there for 2 or 3 hours, I think.
I was just going to say, so now you mentioned the restaurant, and
Mhm.
so on your tour, I believe breakfast is included every morning, and then there's a couple of special dinners, but lunches are typically on their own that people plan for, and you kind of give them some advice and direction and
Yes.
where to get the best fish and chips and everything else they need to know.
Well, yes, and there's also, we'll get to it in a second, another beautiful lunch that we're going to have in Cheshire that is taken care of. I always suggest to everybody, fill your boots for breakfast because the British do like their breakfast and it really can take you through lunch. Unless you have an absolute ravenous appetite. Otherwise, the Brits love their sandwiches and we're very good at those. Um, they say there's an art to making sandwiches, science to cooking, art to sandwiches. And if you go in any local supermarket, it's quite overwhelming, the choice of sandwiches. We can put anything together, prawn cocktail, you name it. Delicious sandwiches, and they're easy to grab and they're sealed. And you can go and sit outside or on a park bench or bring it back to the bus and have a lovely lunch. We always like our bakery items too. That's always something lovely. And then, of course, there are plenty of places you can go for lunch and cafes and what have you. So we make it easy that way. Lunch is easy to buy in Britain, wherever you go, in each town. Everybody's grabbing a sandwich for lunch. That's what we always did.
And again, being a Brit, this is the right place to get this, and that's what you
Mhm.
recommend and all those fun parts. So
Marks and Spencers have great sandwiches. Sainsbury's, Waitrose is another good one. You have to pick your nice supermarket and you go in and you're overwhelmed by the choice. It was almost like when I first came to America and opened a menu and went, wow. I mean, there's 5 salad dressings, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, not one. So yes, so there's never a shortage of places to go for lunch at all. And after Blenheim Palace, we're heading up Britain, but we make a stop in the Cotswolds. I think it's about an hour's drive through, and you're seeing lovely scenery as we're driving. And we're going to go to Bourton on the Water, one of many beautiful Cotswolds villages. If you've never been to the Cotswolds, it's almost like a picture of a beautiful box of chocolates, limestone buildings, beautiful thatched river. Bourton in the Water has a fabulous river running through it with really low bridges over. Pedestrian, I say pedestrian, you're not going to, they're beautifully designed, just narrow, and you can walk over them. There's
I was gonna
ducks.
say, you know what? I did that. I scrolled through that one too fast, and there's a perfect picture of it right
Yes.
there.
And there's multiple, they call it the Little Venice because of there's so many lovely arched bridges over that little river sweeping through. And that's just a quick stop. So that's where also there's a co-op there where the co-op can sell very nice sandwiches. But there's also lots of lovely little restaurants along. And we have a quick bite and then we're on the bus and quick little bathroom break there. And we're heading to Chester, which is the ancient Roman walled city of Chester. And it is magnificent. You can't really understand how the Romans could have marched from Italy all the way up the spine, well, across Europe, up onto the spine of Britain, all the way up, and then lift these massive sandstone pieces of stone and make these incredible. It's a whole wall around the Tudor city of Chester. I think it's 1,000 years old, the city, and you can walk at the very top of the wall, which are huge. I mean, it's just huge. It circles the city to protect it, and inside.
It's like everywhere you look, though, it's just like you're in a Jane Austen movie, right?
Yes, it is. And I love all my classics. We were brought up on those in school in England. That's what we read at 11, 12, and 13. So I love that kind of environment. And the old Tudor buildings are still standing and are now containing modern day shops, which is amazing, isn't it, really, to think about the hundreds and hundreds of years and how with time they're still standing and there they are on this magnificent sandstone, beautiful wall protecting it. Uh,
Well, it's the history is what
mm,
we really go for. We're all in love with the the amazing history of our ancestors and just the beauty of the land.
The River Dee runs through there too, which is quite lovely. And we're right on the Welsh border, which is very important. And this is why we're staying in Chester. By the way, my little village is 18 miles from Chester. I'm getting ahead of myself slightly. Wales is one of my all-time favorite places. I
Your
just
college stomping grounds.
I love it. I went to university there in Bangor, North Wales, and I did my postgraduate at Cardiff. And it was 2.5 hours to drive back to Audland, so I could go and stay with my parents when I needed more food and my laundry doing. And it was just a perfect spot. And Bangor is very close to Snowdonia National Park. And what you're looking at is some of the pictures of North Wales there. And Snowdonia is just magnificent. I think there's 100+ waterfalls and lakes and craggy rocks and lots of sheep. And it just granite, rugged granite. And then the Snowdonia Mountain Railway is something that has always been quite close to my heart. It reminds me of my childhood. We used to go on holiday there every Easter, even as a little kid with my brother and sister, mum and dad. And it's just, you can see the train. And it's just, I think it's 6 or 7 miles. And we just toddle on up, on the rack and pinion rails and stop if sheep want to cross, and we wait for them to cross and then we carry on. And then what you're seeing below is just all of this incredible, marvelous vistas of North Wales. And you can see the Irish Sea there in the distance. And on a good day at the top, when we get to the summit of Snowdonia, like last time I went with the last group, we could see Ireland in the distance over the Irish Sea. And we could actually see as far down as Swansea. And the fellow who worked for the railway said, "Can you see that Swansea right down there?" Because it was so clear. And that's where I'm on the peak. I think there's a picture of me on the summit there, which anyone can go up on. There's like a little well, it's massive actually. This incredible structure they built of slate, the Welsh slate and rock, to withstand the just whistling, gosh, winds and snow. And it's about 3,500 feet Snowdon. It's the second highest mountain in Great Britain after Ben Nevis in Scotland. And they built it like that so it could withstand all of this weather. And they shut it down shortly after we leave. So it's a perfect window to go up there. But you can go right to the summit and you can walk this. It takes 4 to 7 hours. We're not going to do that. We're going to take the train up and down. And that you can
I know
right.
this is a day that people always comment on, that this was really one of their favorite days.
Incredible. And it's just lovely just looking out of the windows, and it's all big glass windows there. It's not a fancy pants train, but it's old. I think it's over 100 years old now. I think it's like 120 years old. I love it because all I'm there for is the view. I don't need fancy. I just want to look at the spectacular. Out of the window, and it never gets old at all. So the next day we head off to my village, and it was never my suggestion to go to my village, I can assure you. Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru, convinced me several years ago, "You need to go to your village, Abigail." And I said, "Well, I love it, but I don't know if that, coming from Buckingham Palace to my little Cheshire village, it might be a bit of a jolt." It is a beautiful little place built in the 11th, 12th century. Actually, it's in the Domesday Book in 1173 or something. The church is magnificent, St. James. It sits on a hill and looks down on the village. And you can see the white doors there. That's Judy's shop. I went to school with her, but she's, I think, fourth or fifth generation. You can see the date it opened on the wooden door there. I think it's 1862. The same family that she can't wait. The whole village is excited to see the bus arrive. And this year we do have an Audlam online where we talk about events and everything. And I decided not to do the tour this September because I had another conflict. But online, Judy is saying, "I'm sorry to inform the village, Abby and the Americans are not coming this year." Well, they all weighed in. No, oh no. Oh, it was so delightful at the end of it. And then I said, "Don't worry, we're coming back next year." So there's lots of little kind of shops to check out. Judy has all these incredible, I buy all my cards there and bring them back, like hedgehogs and things you can't find. And I use them for birthday cards here and all kinds of stuff. She has great things she gives away, she sells. But there are other little stores there and a great little local village store. It's just, oh, and I forgot to mention the canal. The Shropshire Union Canal runs through the village, and now we have barges, holiday barges that come through at a very slow pace. And we have 15 locks to level out the water. And it's just marvelous just to watch these
What
people.
a fun afternoon. Again, a highlight. I'm so glad that Larry convinced you
He did.
to add
He did.
this. And now, is this the fish and chips shop?
Now, that is the building you're seeing there is the British, well, it's going to be the pub we're going to go to called the Cumbermere Arms, and it was built in 1540. It's never changed. We think it's haunted with monks from the local abbey, and there's tunnels underneath, and they come a knocking in the pub at night. Fortunately, we're there at lunchtime. They don't take tour groups. They don't accept those. You can see inside. It's not what you think of, I suppose, as a traditional pub in America. It's like walking into somebody's living room, and there's two roaring fires, different rooms, and it's so old and it's lovely. As soon as you walk in, I can see.
Welcoming. Wow.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely. Absolutely lovely. So that's one of the lunches that we take care of. And, we have a choice of meals there. We have an entree, a drink, and then also a dessert too included. And it's beautiful environment. It's 4 miles outside the village in the little hamlet of Burley Down, again, sitting perched on the Welsh border. And there's a working Cheshire farm right next to that. It's all rolling countryside, dairy cattle and Cheshire cheese and milk. It's just a beautiful spot in the world. It really is. And then from that pub, we're heading north. It's like, get ready, we're off to Scotland, bonny Scotland. And we pull into, I think we're going, you would know more about the hotel, but if I think it's right, it's in Charlotte Square. And if that's the hotel, it's beautiful. Again, it's a period hotel. Really delightful. And the first day there, the next day when we arrive, we're going to go into Edinburgh itself, and we're going to do all the sites: Edinburgh Castle, Holyrood. I hope I haven't got that the wrong way around. Actually, let me flip back. We do Loch Lomond the first day, which is an amazing freshwater loch, gorgeous, and you can see that there we are.
Picture's amazing.
It was, and it's like the Scottish flag behind me, because that it's blue with a white cross. And I looked up and I said, "Oh, it's a Scottish flag. How about that?" I mean, I just couldn't believe it. And the Edinburgh Castle there too. But that's a lovely, lovely trip out. We have a scenic drive. And getting there, everybody loves going on a lovely little ferry trip, don't you? And it's just amazing. Look, I think in its deepest parts, it's 623 feet deep. It's the line between the lowlands of Scotland and the highlands of Scotland, right there on Loch Lomond. And there's lots of craggy castles on the shoreline. And that, again, you can see the last time we were there was a spectacular day. We went and did a little shopping in a kind of shopping area, which was really nice. And you can get lovely, Welsh and Scottish rugs and cardigans and socks, and which I will stock up on. Here in Utah.
You got to get your kilt, right?
I haven't got the kilt yet, but I do have tartan trousers. Nearly wore them to work for today, but I thought, no, I'll wait for it to get a bit more wintry. And so anyway, so the next day then, after we get back, I think that's a half day. Oh no, it's the next day. So the next day we go to Edinburgh Castle in the morning. We go to Holyrood Palace, which is lovely, and it is the seat, the home of the British monarch when they are visiting Scotland. And the last couple of years ago when I went there, I knew something was up. I saw the British standard flag flying outside, and 2 plain black cars, and 2 men with suits, grey charcoal suits. And we just arrived, and there were 2 sisters with me who were on the trip together. They were delightful. And I said, "Stop, don't go any further. Hang back with me because something's about to happen and I don't know what. And they said, well, what do you mean? I said, something's happening. Somebody very important is about to come out of that arch. And so we stood, no, there was a garden seat there and we sat with the fountain behind us. And I said, oh my goodness. And Princess Anne came out and I immediately got up and started waving. She waved back and they said, who is that? Who is it? And I said, it's the Queen's eldest daughter. It's Prince King Charles, I should say now, sister. And she's so admired in Britain. She's the hardest working royal, always has been.
Oh,
And so anyway, so she got whisked off and she was there with her lady in waiting. She'd been visiting, obviously, on some royal business. She went bright red royal coat, red, and got in and she whisked off. And in the car, she was still waving at us. And I said, and we took photographs. And I said, there you go, ladies. You've seen a real.
there's your royalty sighting for the
There you
trip.
go.
That is so
You never know what's going to happen. You just don't. So that's a beautiful place and another great cafe there. Oh my gosh, because it's a royal one. It's just they've even put like in cocoa a royal crown on your, cocoa and a lovely slice of shortcake. I always loved that. So and
I was
then
gonna say, I almost hate to scroll to this last screen that's everything's kind of over, but I think it's kind of fun, some of these pictures that you have.
I know. Well, the final night, by the way, we have. Oh, and you have the afternoon free to go shopping in Edinburgh. We must point that out so you can buy all your lovely rugs and trot around. And we have dinner, a farewell dinner that evening too in Edinburgh. And then the next day we do fly home. But these are just some of the special moments. There are some, the ladies in the bottom corner, they were a hoot. They were all related and came on the trip one year and they were so much fun, different generations and just lovely. And I still stay in touch with a couple of them, which is just delightful. In fact, the young girl in the very far right is now since married and has her baby. Above that one, this is one of my all-time favorite photographs. It's my little sister to the left of me and my lovely father, who I lost 3 years ago. But he would always come on these tours. They so look forward to it. They would come down to London, my sister and father, and then up to Edinburgh. They didn't need to come to Cheshire because we live there. And that's one of my all-time favorite photographs ever. It was just one of those moments.
Just one of those perfect moments.
Oh, yes. And my father was a lovely man. And so, yeah, so that's the trip really. It's just everything. Every time I go, there's something new for me. And, I lived there for until I was 25 years old. It's something that I can't really totally explain because it's a beautiful land. It's rich in its culture, in its literature, in its buildings, and then you get to meet new friends along the way. And the food isn't bad. It's
And
terrible, erroneous rumor that British food is bad. Used to be. We are so much better now. We have multiple cuisines and different influences, and I look forward to taking you on the tour, and I hope you can make it. So thank you.
well, thank you, Abby. And you always do such a wonderful job explaining it, and you can hear your passion and love for your homeland. And I think one of the things that I was really appreciating about this picture is it just gives you a view of what it's like on tour, that whether it's a girls' trip or whether it's a couples trip. We were kind of talking about that once about the romance of the countryside and the historicness, whether you're, doing England or, in London or it's a beautiful romantic country, but it's also just fun. And it's fun to go and explore. And it's a beautiful time to be there, being out on the lakes. And it's also a great jumping off place too. Something that a lot of people will do on this tour is, from here they'll add on a little jaunt over to Ireland because it's really easy and inexpensive to do at the end of the tour from Scotland, or, even starting in England. And I know that's something we've even talked about, Abby, is adding a little Ireland onto your tour at some point. It just hasn't quite happened yet, but I think you've got three countries here between Britain and Wales and Scotland. So, and you do it so amazingly and with so much love. So um, I hope that if you've stayed with us through this whole presentation, if you have any questions, please give us a call at 800-809-9910 or look at our website at www.mmetours with an s.com, MM for Morris Murdock, E for Escorted, and tours.com. I'm sure there'll be something on this video that has that link there too. But we really hope that you'll look at going with Abby on this fantastic tour and let a true Brit show you her homeland in the only way that a Brit could. So, Abby, thank you for your time and look forward to maybe getting on this tour with you one day.
Oh, Wendy, I'd be thrilled to bits. You're always a delight. And thank you very much for allowing me to chat with you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Happy travels.